If you've been struggling to find time to post on TikTok, then I want to share some realistic strategies that you can use so you can stop feeling too busy or too stressed and actually show up and post consistently, even if you have a full-time job or a business. Now, I am not a productivity expert by any means, and I still struggle with this too. I'm constantly working to do a better job balancing content creation, running my business, and being a good husband and father. But I've also been an online business owner since 2013. I've also built 2 7-figure businesses in this social media / digital marketing space, and I did it first as a full-time law student, then working as an attorney, and then being a stay-at-home dad to my 3 young kids. So I know what it's like to try and juggle content creation, growing your business, and showing up for your family. I actually came up with this idea because my boys' Little League baseball season is just about to start next week, and I'm coaching both teams. So yesterday I was thinking to myself, I really need to get things dialed in. I need to get things together if I'm going to be able to manage all of this. And I thought it would just make a really great video for y'all. I imagine that if you're a new creator, you're probably just trying to figure out how am I going to find time to record and post these videos and do all of the things that I have to do while still working a full-time job, raising a family, growing a business, trying to get healthy and lose weight, or all of the other dozen possible things that you probably have going on in your life. You're also probably feeling a ton of pressure because you see all these TikTok gurus that are telling you that you have to post 3 to 5 times per day in order to grow on the platform, which is not true, by the way. So let's get into some of the strategies that I'm personally using to manage my time so that way I can create content and still show up for my clients, manage my team, grow my business, and do all the things that I do with my family. And as we go through this, I'm actually going to show you the app that I'm using both on my computer and on my phone to just help me get focused and stay organized with all of the things that I need to do. So the first step in the process is that you need to prioritize your goals. You need to figure out what's important for you and what you want to accomplish. And I would recommend just writing all of this down, getting it all out on paper, just kind of brain dumping it, and then you can sort through it and start to figure out what's most important. And so for me, I'm either writing it on one of these yellow pads or I'm putting it up on my whiteboard and I'm just writing down what are all the things that I want to accomplish between now and the end of the year. And at this stage, I don't want you to try and pick and choose. I just want you to write down all of the things that you might want to do, that you have as goals for yourself. Just put them all there and we'll sort through it later. And so as an example for me, I know I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm dieting, I'm trying to get back in the gym. Luckily I have a nice home gym, but making the time for that. We just got a new puppy, and so I want to train this puppy. I want to go on walks more. I want to, go on dates more frequently with my wife, getting into the business stuff. I want to start posting on Instagram. I want to post consistently on YouTube and on TikTok. I want to start an email newsletter. I'm trying to redo my TikTok Growth Accelerator program, create the 2.0 version, but at the same time, I'm still trying to serve all of my agency clients. I'm doing sales calls, taking on new clients. There's a lot of things. Oh, and I mentioned, my boys are starting baseball and I'm coaching. And so whatever it is, just get it written down. All of the things that you want to do, so that way you can start to think about them and kind of analyze, and then we can start to set priorities, which things are most important. Now, for the next stage of this, I would recommend just take the paper that you put everything on and just tear it off and get a new piece of paper. And now let's start writing it down in order. So if you put 10 things on the paper, write them 1 to 10, and we're going to start putting them on there one at a time. We're just going to transfer them over. It's really important that you prioritize, and as you'll see, because we can't do all of the things. We have a limited amount of time in the day, and whether you have a full-time job or you're like me, where you have a business and you have clients that you have to serve, and you have this work that you have to show up and do every single day, we have to then work the content creation and that goal and recording around our other both business and personal family responsibilities. Now, before you just start making decisions here, I want you to think bigger picture. What is the biggest thing that you want in your life right now? What is that thing? For me, one of the reasons that I have health as a priority right now and I'm trying to get in shape is because I actually had kind of made that a lower priority to growing my business at other stages of my career. And so now that my business is doing very well, I want to put a bigger emphasis on that. I want to lose the weight. I want to sleep better. I want to have more energy. I want to look better for my wife, all of those kind of things. And so it's okay, based on whatever season you're in your life, to determine what is more important. And so for me is I'm going through this process right now. I'm saying, okay, Like, I'm coaching my boys' team. I want to spend that quality time with them. That is something that I really want to do and that is important to me as a dad. And so that means that, like, I'm going to be doing that my afternoons, my evenings, and, my weekends. I don't have that extra time outside of my work hours to get things done. Whereas, like, there's definitely seasons in my life where it's like, okay, cool, I got, dinner made, everybody's done their homework, they're all fed, like, they're chilling, watching cartoons, reading a book, playing, whatever. Like, I'm gonna go get an extra hour of work in. Like, I can't do that right now. And so then knowing that, I can set further priorities. So now with my limited hours a day, I'm sitting here going, okay, if I want to work out, if I want to create content, if I want to update my TikTok program, and I want to serve my clients, like, I don't know that I can do all 4 of those in the day. And so I need to rank them. And these rankings can change over time. So, like, for me personally, like, over this, let's say, next 30-day period, I'm going to make sure that I'm taking care of my health. Like, I'm getting up earlier in order to make that happen. I'm working out in the morning. What I eat, which is going to have the biggest impact on my weight, like, that doesn't affect my time. I can focus on that pretty well, and, like, I'm sacrificing a little bit of sleep to get up earlier to achieve that goal. But then when it comes to, like, my business and taking care of my clients, like, that's how I pay the bills. That's how I take care of my family, put a roof over their head, pay for the food, like, all of those kind of things. So I can't sacrifice that. I have to set time aside for that, which means now I have updating my program and content. So with those 2 goals left, now what I have to figure out is, like, okay, how much time do I need to create that content? And I'm going to start blocking that out in my calendar to make that a priority. And then when it comes to, like, the program updates and some of those things, like, I want to block out time for those too, but if I get into a spot in my calendar, I need to have those prioritized. I have to know which one comes in front of the other one. That way, if I have limited time, I'm putting it to the right thing. And you want to make these decisions now ahead of time. You don't want to be making these decisions in the moment every single day. One of the most important things that I have learned when it comes to time management and being a business owner is that we need to have 2 functions in our brain. We need to have the pilot, and then we need to have the flight plan, okay? And so when you're planning this stuff out and you're prioritizing and determining what you're gonna work on, that's determining your flight plan. You do that ahead of time, and then when it's time to work, you're the pilot. All you do is you follow the flight plan. This means that you show up, you know what it is you have to do, and you just do the work. You don't think about, is this what I should be focusing on? Should I be doing this instead? Oh, I had this idea, maybe I'm gonna go do that. Unfortunately, that is how most people operate. They don't have a flight plan. They just show up and they're like, all right, let's do it. I'm gonna do this today. And they let their emotions and how they're feeling in the moment, the ideas that they have, pull them in different directions. And so they're not as productive, and it takes way more time to get things done. So let's talk about how to develop your flight plan, right? Now you have your list of priorities. The next thing is we need to figure out what are your non-negotiables, right? So for me, I know that I have specific meetings that happen every week. I know that I'm going to be working out, like, on certain mornings, and, like, I have that time planned. I know that I have to drop my kids off at school or pick them up from school at certain times on certain days. These are all non-negotiables. And for you, your non-negotiables might be that you have a full-time job. Like, I have a little bit more flexibility these days because I'm self-employed. I have a business. I set my own hours. I have responsibilities. I have things that I need to get done. And really, I have a full set of work hours, but I can kind of choose and, pick and choose when I do those things. And so if you have a full-time job and you don't have that flexibility, then you need to take a look at your schedule and be like, okay, I'm literally at work from these hours. This is when I have my commute. That means you have time before you work, you have time on your lunch hour, you have time after work, and you have to utilize that time and really prioritize, how you're doing it. Now, dirty little secret, like, maybe this isn't the best advice, but depending on the job you have and if you plan to be there long term, like, you might be able to get some work in on your stuff, on content creation during those work hours. Maybe you're able to do content research. Maybe you're able to develop ideas. Maybe you're able to work on, like, your niche and your avatar and understanding that, so that way you can come up with better content or write better hooks. I'm not saying you should neglect your job if your family is depending on it or you you shouldn't be working, but let's be realistic. A lot of people in 9 to 5s have a lot of wasted time or a lot of downtime, or have opportunities where maybe they can sneak in 20 minutes of work here, 20 minutes of work there. That way they can, get some things done and not have to take up all of their personal time. So write down your non-negotiables. We're going to get to those here in a minute. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to start a practice of planning your week ahead of time. This is part of that building your flight path, right? And so every Sunday, or you can do this Monday morning if you want, but I always try to do things ahead of time. So Saturday or Sunday, set aside some time. Pick a time for you that's good, that you can get some paper and you can sit down and you can just write down everything you need to do that week. And so for me, I usually draw a line down the center of the paper. I have work on one side, I have personal on the other side, and I just start writing down, okay, I have to take the puppy to the vet, I have to go to the post office, I need to go to the grocery store, I need to do blah, 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 blah. I'm writing all those things down. And then on the other side, with work, and it's just as you think of it, just spend 15 minutes, write down all of the tasks that you have to do for the week. As you're doing this, I want you to start thinking about, what are your objectives for the week? What are the big things that you need to do that if you got those done, you'd be like, that was a good week. I was productive. I was moving the important things forward and ignoring the stuff that doesn't matter. And I'm going to show you some examples of my objectives from this week here in a little bit. So stay tuned for that. But it might be something for me, it was, I'm going to create this product. I'm going to record this YouTube video. I'm going to work out 3 times. I kind of was okay, what if I want to say this week was a 10 out of 10, what are the things that I actually have to get done? So once we have all this pre-work done, we've done this weekly brain dump, we have our non-negotiables, we've kind of figured out what our objectives for the week are. We want to start loosely planning the week. We want to get this stuff off of paper and get it onto a calendar. And you don't have to time block everything, but you want to start having a general idea of okay, I think I'm going to do these things on these days of the week, and figure out how much you can realistically stick in the calendar and accomplish. So to show you how to do this, I want to introduce you to the app that I'm using to organize all of these things. So this is Sunsama. This is the app I was talking about, and this is not a sponsored video or anything like that. I just really, really love this app, and it's helped me with the thing that I have the hardest time with, which is I want to do all of the things, and I have a hard time deciding, and I have a problem of biting off more than I can chew, trying to accomplish more in a day or more in a week that I can. And in the past, it has led me to do too much, not be as present as I want with my family, almost overwork, and eventually get to burnout where I just crash and I cannot seem to do anything or be productive at all. I just want to walk you through this tool and how you can use it to plan out your week and start to figure out when you can have time to create content, how to use that time wisely, and to make sure that you're getting it in. So the first thing I want to show you, I'm in calendar view here, and so you can kind of see all the stuff that I did this week. And you can see that I really try and get all of my work happens between around 7 a.m. and no later than about 4 o'clock if I can help it. My kids are generally getting home between 3:30 and 4, and I want, as soon as I hear them coming through the door, I want to leave my home office, I want to go downstairs, I want to see how their day went, I want to help them with their homework. I'm the cook in my house, so I want to cook all of the meals, feed my kids, have a movie night, play ball, play video games with them, read to them, whatever it is that we have on the agenda that night. I really want to try and get everything done so I can be downstairs by 4 o'clock at the latest and just enjoy family time. And so you can see a whole bunch of stuff that I did this week, and you can see over here on the right, we actually have some of my weekly objectives. And I mentioned this, the first one, I'm working on the TikTok Accelerator Program updates. And so I had some projects that I was working on. I need to write some copy still. So I'm going to knock that out. If I don't get it done today, I'll probably squeeze it in tomorrow on a Saturday. I need to get one more workout tomorrow because that, like I said, that was a big priority for me. And then I have to record this video. Look at me, I'm doing it right now, okay? So I'm going to hit all of my objectives for the week. So how do we turn a brain dump like this into what you see here on the calendar? Let me walk you through the process. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to the board view where I'm going to be able to see, kind of what's going on. So you can see here's my day today. You can see all those tasks. You can add notes to them. And you can see that there's already a couple of tasks, some things for the weekend. and a couple of things that I've already set up for next week. Now, the first thing that I'm gonna do before I get any of these tasks on here is that I'm actually gonna go into my weekly planning and I'm going to set my objectives for the next week. So I'm gonna end up completing these objectives, so I'm gonna set new ones for next week. And so for me, for next week, I'm going to continue working on my program. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna say, okay, I'm going to record modules for TikTok Growth Accelerator 2.0. Okay, and then we will add tasks to this later. You can see these tasks. Once again, I want to work out 3 times next week, so I'm going to put that on there, and you can see we can create these channels. These don't have them here, but so for me, this channel, this is going to be part of business. It's going to be a business objective. It's me working on my business, growing my business. Whereas like I'll have stuff with clients, finance, my other company, if it's like content specific, and then I also have like home or personal. So that's going to be business. Whereas my workouts, that's going to be a personal task or a personal objective. My other big objective for next week is going to be recording content again. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that. I'll just go ahead and put this as YouTube, but this is really going to be both YouTube and TikTok content. So I'm going to want to record video 70, maybe more if I can. And I'm also going to want to do 2 1-hour blocks of TikTok recording. And so if we go back to the home, you'll see that I've already put these sessions, and I'll explain how that works for me here in a second. So I'm going to go back to that weekly planning. I have my objectives here, and then I'm good to go. You can put this, I don't like post it to Slack or anything. I just say done, and there we go. So now I have those new objectives. So I can start to look at some of these things here that I already have and see if they fit in any of my objectives, because the goal here is you want most of your work to fall into your objectives. Now you're gonna see I'm gonna have like a lot of client work and things like that that aren't gonna fall in an objective, because like that's my full-time job. Like that's the part that I'm working around. Like you may have, your 9 to 5, maybe you're working as an engineer, you're a teacher, or whatever it is that you're doing, and then you're trying to create content, sell digital products, whatever, build your business on the side. And so to me, those are just the things, like your job, like that's just the thing you have to do. And like these are the extra things that I'm trying to do, that I'm trying to fit in and prioritize. So I can go here and I see I have these recording sessions. And so if you click on this, you can actually go to the menu and you can align it with an objective, or you can press R. And then I can say, okay, cool. This one is going to go under recording content. So I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to go to, I'm going to hit R on this one. I'm going to put that on recording content. And I'm not even placing this here. I'm just like writing down the things I have I know. So from my, my list here, I know that I already know what my next video idea is going to be. So I don't have to do that. But what I do have to do is I have to script that video. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to say, okay, I need to script 070, because that's how I label my videos. So this, you can see this, it already kind of knows like around how much time it takes me to do that. So it has set a time. This is like one of the things I really love about this. Like I can go ahead and I can set this objective to recording content or just producing content, but it's predicting the time. And you can see here, as I've set times for this, like I wanted an hour recording session, 2 1-hour recording sessions, it's telling me like how much work do I have for that day. And Sansama is actually going to help you make sure that you're not doing too much in one day. It's going to help you prioritize that and figure it out, and then push things into the future. And it gives you prompts to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and let me move this over here real quick, because we're going to fill this up. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add those couple of things. So I know I'm going to need to record 070, and this is saying an hour, but I generally like to plan 2 hours for this, because sometimes it takes that long, and I just want to make sure that I would rather overestimate the time that it's going to take than underestimate it. So I'm going to put that there. Now, I'm not going to do this all on Monday. This is when I said we're going to start loosely planning it. So generally, I kind of like to record on Thursday or Friday in the afternoon. I want to really have my scripting done probably by Wednesday. I know that I tend to have meetings on Tuesday, so I don't want to put a ton there. And then I'm going to want to have a recording session. And so this week, Labor Day is a holiday, so I probably may not get as much done on Monday, but I know I can probably do a recording session, like I think on Thursday if I'm going to record here and script here, and then maybe put this on Tuesday, even if I'm having meetings. If all I do is meetings, check in with clients, a little bit of work, get an hour recording in, I think that I'm doing pretty well. Now, I'm not going to put all of the tasks on here at this point. I just wanted to show you how you can add the weekly objectives. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my non-negotiables on here. I want to make sure they're on there. So, I had workouts as part of it, and so I can actually go here. I've I've got this synced with my calendar. And if I click on this, it's going to send me back into calendar mode. And now I can go to these workouts and I can set them as tasks. I can just click here to add tasks. All right. And I also have my meeting. So I have this meeting here. I'm going to add that task. This meeting here, I'm going to add that task. This meeting, I'm going to go ahead and add that. Now, the other thing that can happen here is that as you start to see us as we do daily planning, if you have a meeting on your calendar, you don't have to manually add it as a task. It will actually say like, okay, let's get that scheduled for tomorrow. And so I'm going to like provide an example. Okay, so I have a meeting ready now. So when I get to daily planning, I'm going to show you how to add a meeting that way. But I've just added all of these as tasks. So if I go back to that board view, I should now see these for next week. They're all on there. So there's that workout under personal. You can see I have those all in place. Those meetings that are there, I can go set what are these for. This is going to be a client meeting. This one is a client meeting. And this one right here is going to go to one of my businesses. So I'm going to have that meeting there and the times are already set. So I've put my non-negotiables. I put my workouts. I put my meetings. And if you have just like blocks of hours that you know that you're not available because you're at work, then what you can do is you can actually go into your Google Calendar and you can just block out the times and just put that you're at work or you're commuting, and that stuff, when we go to look at our calendar and we assign our tasks, it'll just be blocked out. You don't have to pull it in like this. Now, once our non-negotiables are there, we want to put our priorities. So we've set these weekly objectives and you want to start working that in. So I had recording content is like, that's one of my objectives, and that's going to be an objective for you. And so you want to kind of figure out when you can do it. And you're not scheduling it in. You're not like calendar blocking right now. You're just putting it on the day. So like how I decided, okay, I'm going to do my recording session on that day. I'm going to do my recording session on this day. It's now kind of in that log of how many hours that you have. And then your other objectives, you want to pull your high priority tasks from your brain dump and put them in there. So I've identified that working on my program is one of those big objectives that I need to complete next week in order to feel like it's a 10 out of 10 week. So I need to make sure I put those tasks on the calendar before I put anything else from my brain dump on there. So let me do that real quick. Okay, so you can see I've added about 2.5 hours of work on this big project for the new program. I added my workouts in there, and then I also went and added some client work blocks. So I have an hour here, I have 2 hours on Wednesday, an hour on this day, and an hour and a half on this day. And that's just because like I know kind of the flow of how things go with my clients and when they need me the most. So it tends to be that on Tuesday or Wednesday, I have to do a bigger block because there's like more stuff to get done. And then it's always a little bit busy on Friday because we're trying to get some things going before the weekend. So I plan all of that accordingly. Now, obviously, this is not a complete picture. This is just me providing an example for y'all, but there's a couple of things to point out that I do here. Number one, with the client work, like I will go in and I will start adding subtasks. So I might go for my client Alex needs thing, and I'll go and I'll put those things. So I'll kind of get an idea of what they're needing and just add them in here. And I'm batching all of that work together so that way I can be more productive. Another thing that I'm going to try and do is that I am going to try to not put too much work on a day. I'm going to try and spread it out throughout the week. And I've just found that I feel happier, I feel more productive if I'm pulling work from later in the week into my day because I have time, instead of having too much on my calendar. I get to the end of the day, I didn't complete it, and I'm having to push it back. So that's something that I always try to do, but I am usually going to have a little bit more, and you can kind of see this pattern here. I didn't even do this intentionally, but this is pretty normal that I see like more on the front of the week and less on the back of the week, and it gives me room, it gives me flexibility to add things as meetings come onto the calendar or new projects or kind of emergency tasks pop up that I need to add. But the important thing is that I got all of my must-do stuff in there, and those high priorities like creating your content, I've blocked out time for it. Now, before I get into showing you the daily planning features, let me explain why I just have my TikTok recording split into this 1 hour session. The reason that I'm doing this is because I've just found that it's easier to create content. I'm not really big on batching a ton of content all at once and then dripping out. That's never really worked too well for me. I've also found that there are days when I feel more productive productive, more able to record. Like I'm feeling it, I'm in the flow. And then there's other times where I'm like, I'm worn out and I'm not really feeling it. And so what I try to do is put like 2 to 3 recording sessions of about an hour on the calendar. And then I just see what I can produce during that. And so there's going to be some sessions where I'm really feeling it and it's really flowing, it's coming easy to me. And over a 60-minute period, like I'm going to knock out like maybe 5 videos. And then there's going to be other days where I can't do as much and maybe I only get 2 videos. And that's okay because I want them to be quality. I'm going to be focusing on producing quality content, and I'm just going to do the best that I can do during that time. I just want to make sure that I have that time blocked off. Now, one of the ways that I make these recording sessions more productive is that I'm using kind of like spare moments in my day to prep for them. And so the first way that I do that is that I'm scrolling with intention. When I get on TikTok, like in the evening, when my wife's watching like The Bachelor or whatever crap that I just don't care about on TV, I'm going to be there. I'm scrolling on TikTok. I might have my AirPods in and I'm kind of watching content, but I'm scrolling intentionally and I'm looking for ideas. I'm trying to learn stuff. And as I find stuff, maybe I find a really good hook. Maybe I find a really good idea. Maybe I see like a new trending viral format on TikTok that I like. I'm going to save those things. I'm going to use my collections and I'm going to store them. And so I'm going to create collections for hooks, like great hooks that I want to use in my own content. I'm going to have a place to save these ideas where I'm like, man, this is a great idea. I want to make my version of that. I'm just going to save those throughout the week. So that way when it comes, when is this? On Tuesday, and I have my 1 hour recording session, whatever time of day that I save that for, I'm just basically going to go down and I'm going to look through the ideas that I've either written down in my notes app or I've saved in my collections, and I'm just going to pick out a few of them that I feel really drawn to in that moment, that it like feels like I could easily create that today. And then I'm going to record, I'm going to put them in my drafts if I have time, and I got to schedule one for that day, then I'm going to go ahead and edit it up, add the text, all of those things, and I'm going to publish it. But then I have all the other ones recorded in the drafts. If I have time, I'll work on them, and I just try and get as much ready as possible. That way I can start dripping them out the next couple of days to get me through to that next recording session. And like I mentioned earlier, you do not have to post 3 to 5 times per day to be successful on TikTok. The most important thing is that you're consistent. And so at first, you want to get to 1 a day. Like that's what TikTok recommends. That's what's going to perform best. But consistency is the most important thing. You don't want to post for 2 weeks straight and then you disappear. Like I've done that because I've struggled with content creation before. And when that happens, you have to rebuild your views. It takes time to get things going again. So just focus on being consistent first, then worry about your frequency, and then worry about when you post posting times. I don't even worry about that, okay? So if all you can do is post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, start there, be consistent with that, work your way up to posting Monday to Friday, then work your way up to posting every day. But if you use this, if you're blocking out these recording sessions, then you are going to be able to start creating just as much content as you can. And if I produce 4 on Tuesday and I'm doing another session on Thursday, well, then that means that I have a video for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And when I get to Thursday, even if I only produce 2, 3, that's going to, go into the future. We're just keeping them in drafts. We're dripping them out one at a time. Now, the last thing that I want to go over with you is the daily planning feature. And this is really great. I have mine set. You can actually go here in your settings and you can decide when you want to do this. So I'm a big believer in you plan tomorrow today. And it goes to what I was saying about the pilot and the flight plan. If you wait until the next day to plan what you're going to do, if I wait till tomorrow to figure out what I'm going to do, then I'm going to wake up, I'm not going to remember what's important, I'm not going to remember the things I had today, and I'm just going to make decisions, right? And they might not be the most informed decisions. But when I plan tomorrow today and I get it on that calendar, then all I have to do is wake up and follow the flight plan. I can wake up and know, okay, cool, it's time to work out. It's time to go do this. It's time to take care of this client. It's time to go record. I don't have to think. I just have to show up and do. I can save my decision-making power for the work instead of wasting it on figuring out what it is I need to do. And so in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here in the settings, and I'm going to go over here under account, and I'm going to click on rituals, and it's going to scroll down, and it'll say, when do you plan your day? Now, if you set your reminder to plan your day as any time before 3 p.m., it's planning that actual day. But if it's after 3 p.m., that's going to be for planning tomorrow. So you could send it at any time. Like I could set this as a reminder that goes off on my phone, because the app on the phone is awesome too, to plan tomorrow, and it goes off at like 8 o'clock. But because I'm trying to wrap things up at like 3:30 to 4 for the day to go down and be with my family, 3:15 is the perfect time for me to plan tomorrow, because I can get it all done and figured out, and then I can go downstairs and be with my family instead of doing like I'm doing right now. It's 4:20 on a Friday. Like I'm still trying to get through all my stuff for the week so I can go be with them and enjoy the weekend. So I set it there, and you can see it says plan for tomorrow. Now, once you have that setting, the way you do your daily planning is you're going to click over here. Now, you have your daily task list. Like you can see, for me here, I can see here the things that I had for the day. I can see my objectives. I can see my calendar, so you can see how I bunched things. So like my recording, I started pretty late on my recording and it's going a little bit later. It's okay. That's one view that you have there. You also have your daily shutdown where you kind of review what you did. But first, daily planning. Okay, so here I am. Like if I'm doing my daily planning for tomorrow, it's going to take you through some steps, and this is like one of the best things about this app. Okay, so what do you want to get done tomorrow? This is for me planning Saturday, so it's going to be kind of light, but I'll give you an example. So first thing, fill in your calendar events. So if you have a meeting or anything and it's connected to your Google Calendar, whatever you use, you can click it here. So I have a workout. I'm going to go ahead and add that event. And so you can see it's already right here. Now I could move it. Maybe I don't want to wake up that early on a Saturday. I'm going to go ahead and put this at 7 so I can be done in time to watch College Game Day. My Aggies are, in College Station. That's where game day is, A&M versus Notre Dame. So, I really want to watch game day tomorrow because it's my team, it's my college that's going to be at. So I've got that planned accordingly. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go, it has rollover tasks. Like if I want to roll them over, or I could pick I'm going to do this. This is probably going to get rolled over. So I'm going to do that. This one's going to be completed. This one's going to be completed. So I'm going to roll over one task. Now I'm going to hit next. Okay, what can wait? So if we went back to my home, you can see when I was putting all these, like there's all these hours, right? It tells you how much it is. And then you're going to see your calendar and what you have available. So you can see here on Wednesday, it's saying, hey, 5.5 hours of work. Part of that is because I have an evening happy hour meeting for my students, okay? Which is really cool. We get together, we enjoy a tasty beverage, and we talk shop in a Zoom call. So it's just like a fun way to do coaching. But, that's already saying like, hey, be careful, you have a lot planned on this day. So when you're doing your daily planning, if you have too much work, it's going to ask you, say, bump back tasks that aren't essential. So I might look at this and go, okay, like, do I really have to, this is one I want to get done because it's part of my objectives, but like sort Paw Patrol toys. We have all the Paw Patrol toys and I need to go through and figure out which ones we're keeping and which ones we're getting rid of. So do I really need to do that tomorrow? No, probably not. So I could push that to Sunday, or I could even drag it and say, you know what, that can wait until next week. So you're going to start moving tasks either to the next day or to the next week. And you're going to hit next. This is where we're going to start planning our tasks. We're going to start moving things. So you have all of your tasks that are there in your day, and they're going to show up in that daily planning list. And now you can start to do almost like your time blocking. And so I'm going to go, okay, cool. I need to review these videos I recorded. I already edited them. I just want to make sure that they're clear and they make sense. I don't need more editing. It's probably going to take about 45 minutes. So if I'm watching College Game Day, games that I want to watch are at 2:30 and 6:30 tomorrow. So I want to kind of use my morning. So I'm going to enjoy 8 to like 9 a.m. Like maybe I'll do this. I think 10:30 would be a good time to do that. Games kick off at 11. Maybe I'll have that on in the background. I'm going to be writing some copy. Normally, I would say that's going to take me 25 minutes. Like I said, I'm doing a little holiday on Monday. I'm doing a little extra work tomorrow, right? So I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm going to watch football while I do this. So maybe instead of a 25-minute task, I'm going to say probably going to take 45 minutes. And so I'm going to do that. So I'll put that like there. So now I've kind of planned my tasks for the day. They're in my calendar and I have this. Now, here's the great thing about this. I can move these around. Like you just showed you that like some of my stuff was messed up. Like if something happens and I need to move this, like let's say I had these back to back. Let's say something happened and I couldn't work then, but I knew I had free time here. And I'm like, you know what? This was still a higher priority than this one. But now I'm not going to be able to work again until 11:15. I'm going to put it there. It's automatically going to bump them, which is really cool. It's going to resort your stuff. All right. I can say, looks good. Let's get started. And now I can go to my daily task list. Well, this is still today, but tomorrow, I'm going to go to the next day, right? I'm going to be able to see it. I'm going to be able to do those tasks. And then when you start working on them, you can hit this little thing here and you can hit the play button. I'm going to start hitting record. It's going to put me in this focus mode. And now I can go work on whatever tasks, but it is going to time. It's going to track, and it's going to have this little floating bar over whatever I'm doing on my computer. And it's going to time like how much time I'm actually putting into it. It's going to set off a little alarm when time is up. So I can say, okay, I got as much done as I could during that time. I need to move on to the next task so I can stay on schedule. Or if I need to push that one, I can keep going and say, nope, keep going. But what this is doing is it's allowing me to start figuring out how long do tasks actually take. Remember how I told you I know that it usually can take me up to 2 hours to record a video? I'm able to figure that out because I'm actually timing these things. But the AI is also learning, like I showed you earlier. It shows that little stars. And so when I write the tasks, it goes, oh, this is something he normally does. And it usually takes 25 minutes. And it's going to automatically put that for me. So that can be a really, really powerful tool. I'm a big fan of this. And I think you can see how the planning, especially that daily planning, and how it was like taking all of our meetings, all that kind of stuff, and especially in that second step, like what can wait, making you really think about what's most important. Am I doing busy work, or am I doing needle moving work? Stuff that actually moves my goals forward, gets me closer to my goals. And I think that has been a big impact on this tool, understanding how much time work takes and helping me go, no, this is the stuff that matters. Content creation is the thing that matters, not whatever busy work, right? So that's a big reason why I'm a big fan of this app. Now, if we go back to today, to my daily tasks, and we look at my calendar, you can see here I'm working. I wanted to be done by 4. I'm still going. You're going to mess up. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to learn and adapt. You are going to schedule way too much stuff, and you're going to end up pushing things to the next day, which it will automatically do for you. And that's why, you have to learn. You have to figure out what works for you, but this tool will definitely help with that. But it allows us to at least be more aware of where our time is going and the mistakes that we're making, so we can be more intentional with planning for the next week. We can be more intentional about only focusing on the important things. We can be more intentional about not overloading our calendars like I so often try to do. Now, you don't have to use this app. You can use pen and paper if you want. And although this process has worked for me and these strategies have helped me to be more, productive and to be able to have a little bit better life balance, move toward my goals faster, and to stay focused and get balance the content creation with my work and with my family, you have to be careful that planning and apps and things like that don't become busy work. Don't prevent you from doing the real work, from actually doing your content research and planning and recording and posting your videos and engaging with your audience. At the end of the day, you still have to do the work, but it's also much easier to do the work and to record when you know exactly what you need to do. So I want you to watch this video on the screen next. This is one of my favorite videos I've ever recorded, and it's going to show you how to get your first 1,000 engaged followers, exactly what you need to do, what you need to focus on, and all the crap that you don't need to focus on.